Thank
is the
you.
time for
Thank
some question answers. I request the moderators to please ask the questions to the speakers. Jyoti madam, are you here?
Yes, I am there. My video is not starting. There's a question to Dr. Lily. Hello, Dr. Lily.
Yes, Dr. Jyoti. Even my video is not starting. Please start. Please ask me. I'll answer.
Dr. Deepika wants to know how to routinely manage primary multi-breach at term. Actually, it was beyond the perspective of the talk, but just they want to know what to do with the primary breach or multi-breach, whether you can allow vaginal delivery, whether you will induce. So
okay. See, induction of labor should be taken very carefully. Like I said, you always look for the contraindications. Okay, a very large baby, a very small baby, a growth restricted baby, a baby which is an incomplete breech. All these have guidelines, RCOG, ACOG, SOGC, Irish guidelines. Now, induction of labor, if a person is properly counseled, and the person says, yes, I know there's a slightly higher risk, but I would still like to attempt a vaginal delivery, I would not suggest an induction of labor. If labor onset is spontaneous and the labor progresses, you have to be at the upper limit, not at the lower limit. Maintain a partogram, and the labor progresses smoothly. Yes. Otherwise, at any point, you should suspect fetopelvic disproportion, because there are three major diameters that are engaging. So take it with caution. Be very cautious, very careful. Do not delegate vaginal breech deliveries to somebody who's less experienced. You need to be very experienced. Repeatedly reinforce your skills, and you need to be there on the spot, because things can go wrong very quickly. So if you do, in the present situation, hardly anybody, any patient agrees for a vaginal delivery when you just have one or two babies. They say, doctor, you do a cesarean for me. On the other hand, if the patient already presents in labor at or close to second stage, please allow them to progress with constant vigilance. Primary breach, the pelvis is untested, I would personally proceed with the cesarean section. If ECV is not possible, yes, and no ARM as long as possible, no ARM, because there will be meconium anyway, because the breech is the leading portion. So the meconium doesn't really have much significance here when the breech is leading, especially once the baby's abdomen has entered the pelvis, the baby may automatically pass some amount of meconium.
Thank you, Dr.
So, Paili sir, do you have anything to say, sir? You're more experienced in all these matters.
Yeah, I mean, Lily, that was a wonderful presentation, I should say that.
Thank you, sir.
And as was already mentioned earlier by the chairpersons, I don't think we need to have the pipers, which is in Kerala setting anyway. So we don't have to have the pipers, because if we can see the chin, then we can apply our ordinary forceps, the forceps that we use. And the point that even though we think, oh, chin is visible, that is a low head, not a low head, it's still a high head. And you should have something to give traction on that head. If you pull on the shoulders, that will reflex, which is very eloquently highlighted. And that's the problem. That's a catch in breech. Don't allow that head to reflex. And for push baby up, and then apply the forces on the ventral aspect, bring the trunk back, and apply traction on the forceps. That's very important. And the point that you mentioned, that no induction for breech. They should get into labor on their own. They want to have vaginal delivery, let them get into labor on their own. That's our policy.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. I've had a very excellent experience with the piper, sir, but we should look at more lighter forceps. It's not necessarily to go, and definitely we should look at the forceps, and experience with the particular instrument matters. Thank you very much, sir.
The problem with the pipers is, this was devised at a time when heads down from the high upper pelvis.
Yes.
Do that
it's a long forceps.
And more important is, pressure from above should deliver, not pull from below. So the suprapubic person is the one who is more important. And as we usually say, more experienced person should be on the head end, not on the tail end. And the suprapubic guiding the head into the pelvis is more important. And of course, one suggestion I would suggest is, regarding the back being front. Being front in the early state, directly front, transverse position of the back is not, should be obliquely placed,
Yes,
so
yes.
that the back can be easily brought to the front. If you say back directly anterior, that is not actually the normal. It should be lateral flexion that delivers the baby's trunk, isn't it? So it should not be directly back anterior. A little more towards the end, like occipital anterior, occipital posterior, or
Yes.
left or right. Or
the shoulders engaging in the oblique diameter. But always try to keep the back more
direction of the
anterior.
back, I would say. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
So you
Dr.
can,
Lee.
yeah,
Thank you.
more anterior. That's right.
Okay, I think there is a question to Dr. Nuzhat. Is Challama madam or Lalitambika
And
madam?
there are a couple of questions in the chat box I see towards my presentation.
Yes, sir.
I was expecting Vinayan or Prasanna to take it up. Are they there or?
Sir, you can answer, sir. You can answer.
Yeah,
please.
there are two questions which I see relevant to my presentation. First one is, for how many minutes can an aorta clamp be applied? Dr. Sujata has asked. My answer is, usually you should be able to complete the process of dissection in about 50 minutes. And that is what we usually recommend. But I have kept a case for 89 minutes and there is no harm. Only thing is, later on, postpartum, these patients should have a shot of anticoagulation. We give them, let's say, postpartum period. And the moment you have taken out the clamps, make sure that the pulsation has appeared, which you can palpate on the external iliac, and make sure that the pulsation has appeared. So usually about 50 minutes, but we have gone up to 90 minutes. And in case you need, you can even release and then reapply. But that release should be making sure that your bleeders are fairly controlled. Otherwise, if you take, the moment you take it out, the whole place will get flooded. As happened in one of our workshops, in one of the Toxicon workshops, we had demonstrated how releasing a clamp will make the patient bleed so much more. The next question is, any tips on dissecting bladder when densely adherent to lower uterine segment in PAS with placenta previa? Dr. Siddesh has asked that question. The few points are, as we said in the discussion earlier, the bulb should be available for you to move it around. So you can see upper border of the bladder, the dome of the bladder. Second thing is, vessels across from the bladder towards the lower segment, you can individually coagulate them. Classical teaching is these vessels are not amenable to coagulation because they have very little muscular wall, which I don't agree with. They can be coagulated. And we have also used dilute vasopressin injection over there, which helps the dissection to be a little more less bleeding. But the most important point is that coagulum that forms on the surface of the placenta, on the maternal surface of the placenta, which I showed you in the video, as far as possible, don't break that. Keep the bladder lifted up with a Babcock, and at the junction with the placenta, you cut by sharp dissection rather than just by pushing. Go below the level of the placenta, which you can feel by putting your hand behind and in front, fingers behind and in front of the cervix. Once you have gone below the level of no need of removing the lower part of the cervix. This is a big disagreement I have with everybody. Please think about it. Placenta doesn't go below the internal os. Placenta is above the internal os. So don't try to remove the entire placenta. And that is the most difficult part. It will be more at the treacherous part. So stop this teaching that total hysterectomy is required. No, subtotal hysterectomy should be the standard for a case like this. And to answer your dissection of the bladder, these are things I would suggest.
Thank you, sir, for that answer. I think it is time we move on to the next session, that is the panel discussion.
Thank you.
We have the panel discussion on maternal collapse, the case scenarios. And the moderator for this session is Professor Rajshekhar